Harry and Meghan have, whether they mean to or not, they have turned Archie and Lilibet into the two most famous children in the world. What is going on in Harry and Meghan's relationship?
So Meghan Markle just dropped her daughter's face on Instagram after 4 years of keeping Lilibet hidden tight. After all those talks about privacy, all the legal fights, all the serious moments with Harry standing beside parents hurt by social media, this move hits different. She posted a clear profile shot of her 4-year-old on Valentine's Day like it was nothing. Let that sit for a second, because the timing isn't just off, it feels wild. The contradiction is loud, almost unreal, like something you wouldn't expect after everything they've said before. This isn't small, it's the kind of twist that makes people stop and look twice.
You could clearly identify this child from this photograph yet published of Princess Lilibet on Instagram.
I'm breaking down what went down, why people are talking, and why this moment might be one of the biggest reveals in the whole Sussex story since they stepped away from royal life. On February 14th, 2026 Valentine's Day, Meghan posted a photo to her Instagram, which has about 4.4 million followers. The picture shows Prince Harry holding their daughter, Lilibet, on what looks like their Montecito property. She's dressed in a pink ballet outfit, holding red balloons, and for the first time ever, her face is clearly seen from the side. The caption says, "These two plus Archie equals my forever Valentine's," with a red heart emoji. It looks simple, sweet, and polished, but don't get it twisted. This feels carefully planned and intentional in every way. Meghan Markle, the same person who told the world that media pressure was wrecking her mental health. The same Meghan who said she felt suicidal during her time in the palace. The same Meghan who, alongside Harry, made protecting their kids' privacy the core reason for stepping away from royal life. And just days ago, her husband was standing in a Los Angeles courtroom backing families whose children were harmed, and in some heartbreaking cases, even lost because of the very same kind of platform where she just shared her daughter's face. Now, here's where things go from questionable to seriously shocking. That courtroom moment wasn't just symbolic, it connects directly to a major legal battle happening right now. There's a case in California called KGM versus Meta, and it's not small, it's a landmark lawsuit. The first of its kind, heading to trial, accusing platforms like Instagram and YouTube of building addictive systems that damage young people's mental health. The plaintiff, a 20-year-old woman known as KGM, gave emotional testimony. She said she started using YouTube at just 6 years old and Instagram at 9. She described being online constantly as a child, caught in a cycle she couldn't break. Over time, she developed anxiety, depression, and body image struggles that deeply affected her life. She said social media took over her sense of self-worth completely. This wasn't some random or small case either. This has been compared to the big tobacco lawsuits from the 90s. That's how serious it is. There are over 1,600 similar cases still pending across the country, all pointing at the same issue. Even TikTok and Snapchat chose to settle before things got this far. Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg himself had to take the stand and testify. And Harry, he was right there in person, standing with grieving families who say Instagram played a direct role in destroying their children's lives. He didn't just show up, he took part in a memorial for young lives lost to social media harm. For months now, Harry has been speaking out, building a strong image as one of the loudest voices warning about the dangers of social media for kids. Honestly, this might be one of the most serious and respected things he's done since leaving royal life. Parents involved in the case have openly said how much his support means to them. This isn't abstract, the damage is real and lives have been lost. And then, in the very same week, his wife shared their 4-year-old daughter's face on Instagram, the exact platform he was in court criticizing for harming children. I mean, trying to process this takes some serious mental gymnastics. The contradiction here is, on another level, it really stands out once you line everything up, and it gets even more intense. Just yesterday, March 25th, 2026, the jury in the KGM case delivered its verdict. They found Meta and Google liable $6 million in damages total. That's $3 million compensatory and $3 million punitive. The jury didn't hold back either. They said these companies acted with malice, oppression, or fraud when it came to harm caused to young users through their platform design. Meta was hit with 70% of the responsibility, while YouTube took the remaining 30%. This isn't just another court decision, this is historic. It's the first time a jury has held social media companies legally accountable for addictive features that harm children. Experts are already comparing it to the moment Big Tobacco finally started losing its grip. And this isn't the end. There are nearly 2,000 similar lawsuits waiting to move forward. Harry stood right there with those families, putting his name and presence behind the cause, giving it weight and attention. At the same time, his wife is growing a full commercial brand on the very platform that was just ruled responsible for harming young people's mental health. And that's where things get even deeper, because this isn't only about one Valentine's Day post, it connects to something much bigger. This isn't just one moment, it looks like a pattern forming. Meghan's Instagram isn't some casual personal diary, it's the engine behind her brand and public image. Her lifestyle company, As Ever, runs straight through that platform. Her content strategy, her audience growth, her partnerships, it all flows through Instagram. And people watching this closely have started calling it the Lilibet effect, because whenever her daughter appears in content, the numbers jump fast, more engagement, more followers, more clicks. You can actually see how this has been building over time. First, it was photos of the kids from behind, then angles where you could almost see their faces. Then moments like Archie's eye and part of his face showing in a holiday photo. Each step pushed the line a little further. Each post revealed just a bit more, and every time the attention grew. So when that Valentine's Day photo dropped, it didn't feel random or accidental. It came across as the next step in a steady content rollout, one that keeps people watching and clicking. Now, here's the real question that has people talking. If someone truly believes Instagram is designed in a way that can negatively affect young people, and a jury has now held companies accountable for that, would they choose to share clear images of their own young child on that same platform? That's the tension people are reacting to, and it's why this moment is getting so much attention right now. If you stood next to parents who lost their children and blamed this platform, would you then go home and watch your partner use that same platform to grow a brand connected to your kids' images? That's the question making people pause right now. Now, the Sussex team does have a response. A spokesperson pushed back, saying that speaking up for safer, better regulated social media can still go hand in hand with sharing carefully chosen, controlled images of your children. According to them, privacy has never meant total invisibility. It means deciding what gets shown, how it's shown, and staying in control of your own story. On the surface, that sounds polished and convincing. It fits neatly into a statement or headline. But when you really look at it, a lot of people feel that explanation doesn't fully hold up under closer attention, because the families in the KGM case weren't focused on paparazzi or random photos being taken. Their concerns went much deeper. They pointed at how the platforms themselves are built. The endless scrolling, autoplay videos, constant notifications, and algorithm-driven recommendations were all described as harmful to young users. And the jury agreed with that view. Internal documents even revealed company discussions, including the line, "If we want to win big with teens, we must bring them in as tweens." That's the part that's making this whole situation feel even more serious. The issue isn't just unauthorized photos. The concern people raise is about the platform itself. Its core design is built to keep users hooked and constantly coming back. That's not just opinion anymore. That idea was backed by a legal verdict and a $6 million ruling. So when Meghan shares Lilibet's face on Instagram, it's not seen by critics as just a simple family post. It also draws massive attention back to a platform that was just found responsible for harmful design practices affecting young users. It drives engagement, clicks, and visibility toward the same system her husband was in court speaking out against. Now zoom out for a second, because this moment fits into a much bigger picture. This Lilibet photo isn't the only example it highlights a tension that people have been pointing out for years in their post-royal life. When Harry and Meghan stepped away from the royal family in 2020, they said it was about protection. protection of their mental health, protection of their children, and distance from a media system Harry has openly criticized for years. He's spoken about how that environment affected his life growing up and how it shaped his experiences in a very public way. In his memoir, Spare, Harry described feeling like he was constantly on display, like part of a system where he had little control over his own image. That perspective is a big part of why this current situation is getting so much attention now. Not long ago, Harry was back at the Royal Courts of Justice in London, speaking out about how the institution controlled and shaped his public image without his consent. Meghan has also spoken strongly about not wanting to serve her children up to a media environment she once described as ghastly toward them. But now it's 2026, and people are asking what's actually happening in practice, because what we're seeing looks a lot like the building of a family-driven brand. Their children are being referenced in content, appearing in carefully shared moments that draw attention and spark engagement. We've seen snapshots feeding a rhinoceros, visiting a pumpkin patch, running through the blue sage in Montecito. Each image feels intentional, each one timed, and every post brings headlines, clicks, and growing commercial interest. And that's where the comparison starts to get uncomfortable for some observers. The difference between what Harry experienced growing up and what's happening now seems, to critics, more about the platform than the concept. Back then, it was newspapers, TV, and official royal photos shaping the narrative. Now, it's Instagram doing the heavy lifting. The structure may look different, but the idea using family imagery in a public-facing brand feels familiar to those watching closely. And here's the key point people keep circling back to. Today's platforms operate on algorithm-driven engagement, something that wasn't widely understood years ago. That added layer is why this conversation feels more intense now than ever. That level of understanding didn't exist back then, but it does now. And that's why this situation feels so much more intense to people watching it unfold. Because Meghan is making these moves in a time when the risks are widely known, her own husband has been actively speaking out about how these platforms can harm young people. And now there's even a court ruling backing that up. Even voices like Brooklyn Beckham have opened up about this kind of experience. He spoke about how being pulled into a family brand at a young age affected him and shaped his sense of identity in a negative way. You would expect that kind of story to hit close, especially considering everything Harry has shared about his own upbringing, but critics feel it hasn't led to a clear change here. And then there's a bigger question that comes up. What protections do Archie and Lilibet actually have moving forward? In the UK, William and Catherine's children are part of a structured system, even if it's not perfect. There are long-standing agreements with media outlets, limits around photography, police protection, and an established framework designed to give them a level of privacy. Their children in the UK go to school, attend events, and live fairly normal lives within that structured system. It's not perfect, but there are clear boundaries in place. Meanwhile, Harry and Meghan's children in Montecito don't have that same setup. They're in the United States, where paparazzi laws work differently, where no formal agreements with media exist, and where their mother is personally sharing images online. Their faces are being placed on a platform with billions of users across the world. And once something like that is posted, there's no pulling it back. It gets screenshotted, shared, reposted, picked apart, and turned into content again and again. It can even end up in facial recognition systems, becoming part of a permanent digital footprint for a young child who had no say in any of it. So people are asking why share it at all? Not for public need, not for a major event, not tied to any clear cause. Critics argue it brings attention to Meghan's Instagram, which connects directly to her brand and business ventures. That's where the irony really stands out to observers. Harry stepped away from royal life, saying he didn't want his image controlled or used without his consent for institutional gain. Now, critics see a situation where a child's image is being shared without their consent in a way that connects to modern media and branding. And all of this is happening on a platform that has just faced major legal scrutiny over its impact on young users. It leaves a lot of people wondering what conversations are happening behind closed doors because this question keeps coming up again and again. Harry's campaign around social media safety has been one of the few things in recent years that's earned him broad respect. Parents involved in the KGM case have spoken emotionally about how much his support has meant to them. And the cause itself, protecting children from harmful platform design, is something most people strongly agree on. So when Meghan posts something like this, critics see it as clashing with that message in a big way, and it raises some uncomfortable possibilities. Either there's a real difference in views behind the scenes where Harry wants to shield their kids from social media, while Meghan is more open to featuring them as part of her online presence, or, as some suggest, they've both made a calculated call that the attention and potential business upside outweigh the criticism that might come with it. Neither of those interpretations sits easily with people who have been following their story closely. There's also another angle that stands out. Some expected that the first clear image of Lilibet would be tied to something bigger, a launch, a campaign, or a clear brand move. Because up until now, many of their public moments have felt carefully timed and connected to wider projects. So the fact that this appeared without a clear commercial tie-in caught some observers off guard. It didn't follow the pattern people thought they were seeing, and that makes the whole situation feel even more unexpected. Meghan's growth strategy seems closely tied to what people are calling the Lilibet effect. Her entire business ecosystem runs through the same platform her husband has been publicly warning people about. That's where the tension really hits, because both sides of this can't fully align at the same time. You can't speak out against something as harmful, then still actively use it in a way that brings your own family into that same space. That contradiction feels sharper now than ever, and it's hard for people to ignore. So it leaves a big question hanging in the air. Either Harry's campaign is completely genuine and there's a disconnect at home, or the campaign itself is part of a bigger public image strategy and not as clear-cut as it seems. Neither possibility sits comfortably, and that's why this moment is getting so much attention. What's undeniable is this: a 4-year-old child's face was shared with millions of people online this week. She didn't choose it, and she doesn't understand what that kind of exposure really means in today's digital world. If this made you think, I want to hear your take. Drop a comment below. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this so more people can join the conversation.